Hello, everybody. Be very welcome. It's a pleasure to be here. My name is Fabiana Cerato. I am an architect, an entrepreneur, and a self-knowledge researcher and a conscienciologist. Today, I am representing ISAC, which is an international service for the internationalization of conscienciology, which is a non-profit organization. ISAC has the status of a pre-consciocentric institution, a pre-CI. And Isaac is also responsible for this project that we are presenting here today, which is called the Bridge Researchers, which is a project to connect conscienciology researchers. This project has been created to bring together all the researchers in conscienciology from all over the world in order to facilitate knowledge exchange and sharing of interassistential experiences. It is a free online talk usually held every first Sunday of the month, where the speakers present a very important topic of self-research. And today, we will be talking about a very interesting topic, which is a cosmic consciousness and the laws of evolution, with the researcher Rodrigo Marchioli. Hello, Rodrigo. Be very welcome here among us. It's a pleasure to have you here.
Hello, good afternoon from Brazilian time. For them who are seeing us right now, it's a pleasure. It's a pleasure. Thank you.
Rodrigo is a lawyer and a university professor. He is also a PDF student in general theory and philosophy of law, master in human rights, volunteer since 2011, and a teacher since 2013. Author of books, entries, and articles, especially in conscienciology. And he specialized in paraphenomenology and paralaw. So it's great to have you here talking about such an important matter.
Yeah, thank you, Fabiana. It's a pleasure again to be here. And I will try to bring some concepts of my research on cosmic consciousness. This is a topic which I am researching since 2013, since my own experience with this phenomena. And well, we are here at, let's say, the paradigm, the conscienciology paradigm, or consciencial paradigm, and I will try to explain this phenomena through this paradigm. So there are many paradigms which will try to explain cosmic consciousness, but here we'll try to explain through the lens of conscienciology. And I think you gave us a really good intro about me, about Isaac, about conscienciology. And the first thing I want to say before the principle of disbelief, which is the next topic I will be introducing here. But to everyone, feel free to ask questions and pose some questions here, and I'll try to answer them as soon as I can. But during this, I'm saying during my presentation, but after my presentation, we'll have some time to do it also. And this is the first thing I would like to say. Fabiana introduced the research that I will present here. And first of all, and after all that I said now, I want to pose this principle of disbelief here, which is a very important principle for us researchers of conscienciology and researchers of the consciousness phenomena, let's say, which we in conscienciology we call paraphenomenology. And cosmic consciousness is one of the paraphenomena that can happen with us. We have many phenomena that can happen with us. We in conscienciology we call them paraphenomena when we have when these phenomena have some kind of interface with dimensional experience or some kind of parapsychic experience, we call them a paraphenomena. And the cosmic consciousness is for sure a paraphenomena. So to study this kind of topic, this kind of matter, we say it's very important to start this study, this research from this principle, the principle of this belief, which is do not believe in anything. Anything we say here must not be believed. It must be experienced. We try to say that in every opportunity because we believe or we think, better saying, that it is important in this process of researching and studying the paraphenomena or the consciousness phenomena to experiment. And so in this way you can convince yourself about the existence of this kind of phenomena. You don't need to believe other person, so have your own experiences. And today we will try to give some tools for those who have interest in cosmic consciousness and also in expansion of the consciousness to experiment this kind of phenomena. So starting from this principle, the principle of disbelief, it is important to always give tools for those who want to experiment this kind of phenomenon, because it would be just a rhetorical argument to put here this theories or this hypothesis, this speech that I'm putting here and not giving the tools to live it. So one of the things I would try to say here is how can we experience, how can we experiment cosmic consciousness and the expansion of the consciousness. So without further ado, I'll start my presentation. So uh, this is, let's say, a poster figure which I developed through the years. As I said previously, I started to study the cosmic consciousness after my own experience with this kind of phenomena or paraphenomena, as I said. So I had this experience in January 2013, and I think I have heard something about cosmic consciousness at that time, but I never studied that topic deeply. So I didn't have any, let's say, theoretical background to understand what happened with me. And after I had that experience, I was kind of forced to go behind some more theories, some more concepts to try to explain what I have experimented at that time. And I had some really hard time to explain what happened. So I passed some years to reach some knowledges about this topic. And through these years, I came up with this poster you are seeing right now. So this poster could not fit one slide, so I had to divide in two slides. I will explain what is um, what is put here. What is the, let's say, the summary of the topics that I am presenting here. I will not have the time, enough time to explain every topic here, so I will just give a quick overview about this poster, which is divided into slides, as I said. So our main topic today is to talk about cosmic consciousness, but also about the laws of the evolution, or the laws which we are submitted, let's say like this, that the consciousness are under these laws to evolve. So we have two topics, a main topic, which is the cosmic consciousness and the laws of evolution, but we have two topics here. We'll divide our presentation in two moments. The first moment, which I will talk about a little bit more about cosmic consciousness, and the other about the laws of evolution of the consciousness. So the two topics, they are integrated. They are not disconnected. They are integrated, but for to get better clarification about these two topics, I will talk about them separately. So this is a poster which I came up after these many years, as I said, and this summarizes what I have experienced and what I have learned about cosmic consciousness. So, here, as you can see, the cosmic consciousness is divided in three steps. And I entitled this poster as the Cosmic Consciousness Path Hypothesis. So this is hypothetical. This is not. I cannot assure you that this will happen, really happen, but I can give some certainty that other people that experienced cosmic consciousness experienced this kind of things that I'm saying here. I read a lot about of cosmic consciousness. I talked about this topic with many people, and I came up with this summary, which corresponds also to my experience. So it is divided in three steps, which is the first step is before the cosmic consciousness. The second step is during the cosmic consciousness, and the third step is after the cosmic consciousness. And the next slide talks about more about the conclusions, which we can draw from these three steps from the experience of the cosmic consciousness, and these evolutionary fruits, which corresponds precisely from the third step, the after the experience of the cosmic consciousness. So today I will just focus on the first step. I will not um, I will not focus on the other steps, but if you want to talk a little bit more of about what happened during the cosmic consciousness, or about what benefits we can draw or we can have of the cosmic consciousness, we can talk a little bit more. But my presentation focus precisely, or more specifically, in this first step before the cosmic consciousness, because we are doing some correlations with the laws of the evolution, and I talk about them in this topic, which corresponds to the before the cosmic consciousness. So there are these three steps. I will talk more about the first step, which is the before the cosmic consciousness. But there is also, let's say, an arrow here, which goes both ways, um, both left and right, which refers to the cosmic sense. And what I'm trying to say here, it's also hypothetical here, but what I'm trying to say here is that before the cosmic consciousness, the tendency of us, of many of us, is to have a minor cosmic sense. And during the time that we are studying or trying to put the concepts that I will try to present here today in practice, our cosmic sense will become larger and major and bigger. So this is also an important concept that we'll try to explain a little bit more here. It's the cosmic sense, because in the process of uh, development of our, let's say, of the conditions to live a cosmic consciousness or to experience a consciousness expansion, we will realize, we will perceive that our cosmic sense enhances during the time. So, uh,
Before you go on, Rodrigo, just a quick
yes,
question. When you talk
okay.
about expansion, is this expansion inside the body or outside the body?
It is related to an attribute of the consciousness. It's the expansion of an attribute of the consciousness. So we can talk about a lot of attributes of the consciousness, like lucidity, awareness. So when we have a cosmic consciousness, no, but consciousness expansion, we have an attribute of the consciousness which is expanded. So this is the concept of consciousness expansion. So we can talk about our rationality, our awareness, our memory, something like that.
Okay, got it. Mhm.
Okay, so when we have the cosmic consciousness, which is the limit or the apex of the consciousness expansion, we have the hypothesis is that we have all the attributes of the consciousness expanded.
Okay.
So we start to operate or to function differently. I will try to explain that a little bit further in my presentation, but if
Okay.
you want to ask anything else, go on. There's no problem.
Okay.
Is
Thank
it
you.
okay, Fabiana, with
Is it
my?
clear?
Okay,
Yes, it's
okay.
clear.
Thank you.
Good.
So I will highlight and emphasize my presentation in this first step of the cosmic consciousness, the before moment, let's say like this. I will try to explain it a little bit better further in my presentation. I will not go on now. But there is these two steps which I will not talk today. But as I said, if you want to ask me, feel free to pose a question whenever you want. So there is also this second slide, which are the conclusions that we can draw from the experience of cosmic consciousness, which I will not be talking today also because we will not have time. I have already uh, already 20 minutes in my presentation, so I don't have much time here. So I will not be able to talk about these topics, also these evolutionary fruits and the conclusions that can be drawn from this experience. But if you want to talk a little bit more from about this, feel free also to ask me. But this poster, which is divided in two here, as you can see, this was I wanted just to do a brief commentary about this because this poster was presented also in an international event which I participated this year. It was on May 2023. It was held in Italy, Taormina, in Sicily, and the event is called TSC, the Science of Consciousness. And I presented this poster and this hypothesis, or this cosmic consciousness path hypothesis there. So if you want more information about this poster, or if you want to receive this poster, the complete image of the poster I can send you, and also an article. Actually, I did an article about this hypothesis, but there is also a summary, a small summary about the article that I also can send you if you want. So this is my, let's say, my freshest um, research, which I'm presenting now. It's the topic that I'm studying and researching right now. So as I said, we'll just focus on this before step, this first step. So the cosmic consciousness is a very complex phenomenon, but as we are trying to focus on the laws of evolution of the consciousness, I would just focus on this step, because on this step, or in this step, I talk about the laws of evolution, which is in this specifically in this point, at this point, which is the contents of saturation. My hypothesis for experiencing a cosmic consciousness is based on this hypothesis, which I call the intellective saturation of evolutive cosmovision. This is my hypothesis to, let's say, to trigger the cosmic consciousness. So in order to experience this phenomena, I am saying, or I'm trying to put here an hypothesis, which is when we saturate this kind of content, there are some forms to do it. There are some ways to do this saturation, this progression. Saturation, we can also understand as progressions, evolutions, crescendos. We can understand like that. It's the same idea. But when we saturate some contents which are related to the evolution of the consciousness, which, by the way, the evolution of the consciousness is related to the laws of evolution of the consciousness, uh, we can experience some consciousness expansion, or the cosmic consciousness itself. So this is the relation between these two topics, or these two subjects here: laws of evolution of the consciousness and cosmic consciousness. So this is my hypothesis, which as I said, I presented in TSC this year, but I also presented in another event we had here in Brazil, which was always also an international event held by ACIP, which is a consensus-centric institution we have here in conscientiology. And they promoted a symposium of parapsychism, and I presented also this hypothesis, and after that in TSC. So basically, to experience a cosmic consciousness, we need to saturate some contents which are connected or related to consciousness evolution. And if we do that, we would probably be able to experience a consciousness expansion or a cosmic consciousness. This is my hypothesis. So I'm seeing here the banner highlighting the principle of disbelief. Thank you, Fabiana, for doing that, because it's very important to do not believe in anything I'm saying here and to try to experience what I'm saying. And you can confirm or not confirm what I'm saying, and we can debate, we can construct and develop the knowledge, the scientific knowledge we're trying to build here. So this is my hypothesis, and the connection. This is the first point I would like to be very clear here in my presentation. I would like to contribute here in this opportunity is to show that the knowledge of the laws of evolution of the consciousness can lead us to experience a cosmic consciousness. This is my hypothesis, and I would like to be this point to be very clear, uh, presented here, because this is a very pivotal point in my hypothesis and also in my presentation that I am doing here. So uh, I will get a little bit back just to show you a little bit about these contents and these forms of saturation. So as I said, when you saturate some contents, and there are some ways to do this saturation, I can talk about it also if you want, but I will focus here on the contents of saturation. You have a chance, in my opinion, to experience a consciousness expansion, or at the limit, a cosmic consciousness experience. So I divide here the contents of saturation in 4 points. These 4 points we can summarize, or we can understand them as the laws of evolution. In other words, are the laws of are the laws of evolution. So as I put here between those parentheses, the contents of saturation are the premises, the principles, the evolutionary laws, as I was saying, the cosmoethics, and the paralaw. The paralaw. Paralaw, we can also say, in other words, that paralaw is a synonym for laws of evolution of the consciousness. Is the same thing. Paralaw and laws of evolution of the consciousness are the same thing. So evolutionary laws and the laws of evolution are the same things. The premises, the principles, the cosmoethics, which are related to the values of, or connected to the evolution of the consciousness, are basically also, in essence, the same thing of the laws of evolution of the consciousness. So these 4 points are, let's say, inspired in the study or in the observation of these laws of evolution, which are the laws that we are submitted in some way. We can comply to them or not comply. It's up to our free will to do it. But at some point, when we start to understand and to comply with these laws of evolution, it is a tendency, there is a tendency of expanding our cosmic sense. This is the tendency of expanding of cosmic sense, and consequently to experience consciousness expansion and cosmic consciousness experience also. So I will briefly say about them here, because I will give some examples of laws of evolution further in my presentation. I brought 5 examples, but we could talk about, I don't know, 20, 30, 40 examples of laws of evolution. We could fragment many of these laws in many other laws, or many, let's say, mini laws or mega laws. There is this mega law, which is the law of evolution of the consciousness. but there are if we fragment this mega law of evolution of the consciousness, we would find out this other mini laws or other laws of evolution. I will explain a little bit about that further also. I have 30 minutes in, but I will accelerate my pace here. Okay, so the content of saturation, my hypothesis is as follows now. If we saturate our intellect with these contents, which are the non-materialism, altruism, transcendent morality, and evolvability, the idea of evolvability, if we saturate our intellection with these four contents, not only in theory, but in practice, not only with a worldview, but with a cosmovision. What are the difference here between worldview and cosmovision? Cosmovision is a neologism of conscientiology. It's important to say this. The cosmovision, it is a word actually that exists in conventional science. Let's classify like this. But we have a totally different concept here about cosmovision in conscientiology. It is totally different because it does not relate to the idea of worldview. Worldview is a standpoint, and cosmovision it's let's say when you see when you are able to see all the details of something, of some object, and you can see it in many ways. You can know it in many ways. It does not have does not have only you don't only have the standpoint, the world view about that object. You have also a view that can where you can understand deeply about that object. So it's totally different, the concepts. You wanna?
Yeah, I wanted to. I wanted to ask you again, Rodrigo, for us
Yes,
to have this cosmic view about the laws of evolution. You
yes,
said there are four, right? Could you
yeah,
repeat them? I mean, at least the
yes.
fours you
The
mentioned.
the content
Yeah.
of, yes. This is actually not the laws of evolution. This is the contents of the saturation. When
Okay.
you can saturate these contents in your intellection, you have more chance to experience a consciousness expansion or a cosmic consciousness experience. But we can put these contents, or we can explain these contents, these four contents: non-materialism, altruism, transcendent morality, and vulnerability,
Okay.
in words, or we can translate these contents in laws of evolution. We can uh, put these contents in laws of evolution. I will show
Okay.
that a little bit further in my
Okay.
presentation. So
Okay.
this is these are the contents of the laws of evolution. Let's say like this, but we can formally talk about them in a aspect of law, uh, because then when we do this, we are talking in a parallel language, let's say like
Okay.
this. Okay,
Mm-hmm. Clear.
so
Yeah.
this is not a parallel language, but when we say about laws of evolution, or some laws like the law of action and reaction, or the law of return, which are which is very famous in many traditions or around the world and time. We always talked about it, which in Hindu tradition it is known as the law of karma, but in our Western experience we know as the law of return, our law of action and reaction. But when we talk about this, we are talking in a parallel language. But this law is in some way connected to this point here, which I would say the no materialism, because when we are a no materialistic person, I can understand you have some knowledge, you have some idea of multidimensionality, multi-existentiality, and bioenergetics. You have some knowledge at some point about these topics, these matters here. So when you understand about the multidimensionality or the multidimensional reality of the consciousness, you start to understand a little bit more the law of return or the law of karma, the law of action and reaction. We can explain this a little bit better, but this is just the content. This is not
Okay.
a formal way to express the law of evolution. This would be the content of the law, but it would not be a formal way to present a law of evolution in a parallel language, as I said.
Okay. Yes, yes, it's clear.
Okay,
Mm-hmm.
so this content, these 4 points of content that I'm presenting here, you can saturate in 3 ways, as I was saying, not only in theory, but in practice, not only from a standpoint where you put yourself to view the world from this perspective of these contents here that I'm presenting, but you know the details, you know deeply in details about these contents. So cosmovision, as I was saying, is totally different from worldview. It's not just a standpoint. You don't just put yourself in some standpoint, but you know deeply and in details about that content. It is totally different. And to close these forms of saturation, when you know these contents, these 4 points, no materialism, altruism, transcendent plurality, and evolvability, not only intelectively but intuitively. Uh, and to know intuitively, you need to go through go through these 2 previous points. You have to know in theory and in practice. You need to put in practice these contents. You need to try to change your values, your principles, your premises, as I said, to be a non-materialistic person, to live this as a non-materialistic person, to be a person more altruistic, with a morality which does not correspond only to this dimension, which you don't think you are a mortal consciousness. You will disappear, you will perish, you will die if your body also dies. So when you know that the consciousness is not perishable and you live like the consciousness is immortal, this is what I'm saying is a transcendent morality, because this puts yourself in a, let's say, a corner which demands you self-coherence, self-incorruptibility, and cosmoethics. And just to end here, the evolvability, when we not only understand that it is needed an effort to be more serene, to have more self-knowledge, or to have more erudition, to have more knowledge, or to know many topics, or to have a vast culture about many topics. But when you put this effort in practice, this is totally different. And this brings you to operate or to function not only through the intellect, but through the intuitive, from an intuitive perspective. So when you get to this point, my hypothesis is you will start to have consciousness expansion and cosmic consciousness. This is my hypothesis. I will try to explain a little bit better with the time I have here, but I think Fabiana, you want to say
Yes,
something.
we have a question here. I will read it. Is the cosmic consciousness the same as samadhi? Can someone achieve it through meditation, like in yoga, or does conscienciology have other techniques for that?
Yes, yes. It's the same as Samadhi, as Patricia. Thank you for a question. And um we can see that there is the sameness of Samadhi and cosmic consciousness, because when we read about yoga and Yoga Sutras, which were written by Patanjali in the mid, I don't know, fourth century. It is not very precise when Patanjali wrote the Yoga Sutras, but it is fourth or fifth century of the Common Era. And when you read the Yoga Sutras, you will realize very clearly that he is trying to achieve the cosmic consciousness. So there is this very strict connection between samadhi and cosmic consciousness. So the answer here is affirmative for a question. And yes, can someone achieve through meditation like in yoga, or does conscientiology have other techniques? Yes. So meditation in yoga, yes, you can achieve cosmic consciousness through meditation. Many, let's say, Hindu masters, rishis, gurus, and people like that, they reach it, cosmic consciousness and samadhi through yoga. It is there are I don't know if I can call it proofs, but there are obviously many things written about these people that reach it, or they say that they reach it samadhi or cosmic consciousness through meditation. So it is quite proved in history that they did it. But I think that meditation is just a tool, or it would be a tool if you would be able to saturate your intellect with this content. It does not have any value if you start to meditate and you are thinking and you are feeling totally wrong thoughts and feelings. You are thinking about your commitments, you are think bad about your neighbor, you are having feelings of anger, of anxiety, of, I don't know, hunger, thirsty, or something that does not does not give you the conditions to have a cosmic consciousness. So meditation would be a tool, but only if you can saturate your intellect with these contents. This is my hypothesis. Otherwise, I think it's not possible to meditate and have a cosmic consciousness if you are thinking or saturating your intellect with thoughts or feelings which does not lead you to a cosmic conscious experience. And just to answer, sorry, Fabiana, but just to answer Patricia in the last point of her question, she asked me if there is some conscientiology techniques to do or to achieve a cosmic consciousness. And I would say yes, there are other techniques. Professor Valdo Vieira, which is the proposer of the conscientiology, the science of conscientiology, he proposes that to achieve cosmic consciousness, you can achieve cosmic consciousness through a very intense expansion of your energies. He says about this in Projectology and also in 700 Experiments, both books of conscientiology. And he says about expansion of the energies, and you can, through this expansion of very intense expansion of energies, you can achieve cosmic consciousness. So the technique is not very clear, let's say, or it's not too very too developed. It's not there's not a good development about these techniques, but it is in some way posed by conscientiology and Professor Valdo about these techniques.
Thank
Fabiana,
you.
any more questions?
No, it's okay. Thank you. Thank you for that.
Okay, okay. So this is the hypothesis of that would make us able to experience the cosmic consciousness, and it is totally related to the laws of evolution of the consciousness, as I think I could present here. So uh, this point here, which I already presented to you, is a very small point of the whole experience. As you could see previously, I just talked about this point, this small point of my poster, but the whole poster is is a little bit bigger. So I think it would give us a lot to talk here, but this is just to show that there is a lot to talk about cosmic consciousness here. So just to give a close in these topics that I already talked about, I would like to define what are the laws of evolution in order for us to understand a little bit more about this. So, the laws of evolution are the norms structuring the entire evolutionary process of the consciousness, valid in an inexorable and deterministic way for an impossible time to specify, instituted in a diffuse way and in a multidimensional scope, whose content is capable of describing the cosmoetical and synchronic flow of the cosmos, the functioning of the universe, the consciential manifestations, and the existence of life in general. So, if we can talk about the laws of evolution in two ways, as I already said also. We can talk about the laws of evolution as a mega law, which structures the entire evolutionary process of the consciousness, which, let's say, structures the functioning of the evolution of the consciousness through the universe and its manifestations and the existence of life in general. We can talk about the law of evolution, which structures everything related to the evolution of the consciousness, obviously. But we can also talk about the laws of evolution in a fragmented way, which I'll try to do this now. So, as I said, also I brought five laws, or five main fragments, let's say, about this big law of evolution, which structures everything. And the first law that I'm bringing here, which is one of the most important laws of parallel, of the study of the parallel, is the law of return. So it is very well known. The law of return is also known as law of karma, law of action and reaction. I think everyone knows about this law, but it is a very important law to talk about here, because when we understand, this is the point that I want to highlight here, very to stress very strongly here, is that when we understand in practice, not only in theory, the functioning and the acting of this law in our life, there is a very strong probability to we review our acts, or to not act in the same way as we did before. Because when we understand that our actions can lead us to some consequences which are not expected, or which are not wanted, we will try, if we are aware and rational, intelligent, if we have the enough evolutionary intelligence to do this, and I think most of us must have it, we will try to change that kind of action. So this image here represents very clearly what I'm trying to say. So the understanding of the law of return, it helps us to live more connected to a multidimensional, to a cosmic reality. And this approximate us from this kind of experience of consciousness expansion and cosmic consciousness. So when we understand that our actions in this life we will um, give some reaction in other lives, because these actions that we practice now can give consequences not only in this life but in the next lives we will have. So as I put here, for every effect, intraphysical or extraphysical, their respective logical and rational causal nexus can be inferred. So it is almost something mathematical, we can say, in a parallel perspective or in a parallel logic. When we act in some way, we'll have the corresponded consequence of that act. So when we understand that, and we put this knowledge, this theory in practice, we'll change our ways, and will be um, slowly but surely more close to this reality that we can find in the whole cosmos, and this will lead us to a more close chance to have the cosmic consciousness experience. So another law will which could give us a potential to approximate us of a consciousness expansion or cosmic consciousness is the understanding of the law of consciential immortality. Because as far as we can see, or as it can be seen, even extra physically, consciousness is imperishable, it never dies. So Plato I think was the probably the most important philosopher of ancient times in Greece, and that said that the soul of man is immortal and imperishable. It was said in the dialogue called Phaedon, and in Phaedon, Plato through or Socrates through Plato, he said about that, and he developed many ideas about the immortality of the consciousness. And this is a very important idea that we must hold here, because when we understand that we are imperishable, our consciousness is immortal, I think many of our values and our principles can change. So it will change because, first of all, probably we will not be more so materialistic. We will not concern too much about some intraphysical issues, some intraphysical problems. We'll see the reality, the intraphysical reality, in a different perspective. So when we do that, uh, we have, as I said, more chances to live the consciousness, cosmic consciousness, or consciousness expansions. This is my theory, this is my hypothesis, and I invite you to try to saturate your intellect with the contents of these laws, and then tell me if you were more able to live consciousness expansions or the cosmic consciousness in itself. So I'm just putting here the laws. This is important to explain. I'm just putting here the laws that I understand that will give you more chances to expand your consciousness. When you understand that you are subject to these laws, and there is this inevitability, or this, as I said, let's put here, this inexorable and deterministic laws. These laws are inexorable and deterministic, and we can comply or not comply, but it would be much more efficient and intelligent to comply with these laws, because we cannot escape from them. uh, we'll have the chance, or more chances, to live a cosmic consciousness experience, or the consciousness expansion. So I chose 5 laws that I think would give this more expansions of the consciousness. But there, as I said, there are many laws that we can list here. But I think this 5 would give more opportunity, or that they have more potential to give this kind of experience. So when we understand, we also understand the law. Yes, this very good banner. Thank you, Fabiana. Openness is a requisite for self-research. Yes, very good. But the third law that I'm putting here is the law of rhizomatic inevitability. This also, I think, in my case, it opened my mind a lot, because, as I put here, the rhizoma, which is the comeback to the intraphysical reality, because the consciousness is originally from the extraphysical reality. Consciousness is not an intraphysical derivative, let's say, or a consequence of our brain, or the function of our brain. The consciousness is a reality that comes from the extraphysical. So the rhizoma is the comeback to the intraphysical dimension. So the rhizoma is a cogent rule for all consciousness. So every consciousness must experience the intraphysical dimension in order to evolve. This is a cogent rule. we cannot escape from this rule. We have to resum here in intraphysical in order to evolve. There's no way out of this because, as I justifies here, because without it, the apprehension of experience and the occurrence of encounters with other consciousness essential to our self evolutionary process becomes unfeasible. So, when we understand that we have to experience the intraphysical dimension that exists, this law of rhizomatic inevitability, we do not live, or we have the chance to not live the drama of intraphysical life. And when we are aware of this, we are conscious about this law, not only in theory but in practice. This can give us consciousness expansions. This is my also my hypothesis. So another law, the law of interassistentiality, as I put before, the altruism, the content of altruism is directly related to this law of interassistentiality, because assistance in favor of others becomes an inexcusable norm for the consciousness when, without it, becomes impossible to evolve. So there's some point in our evolution that we realize that it is impossible to evolve. There is a ceiling above our heads that cannot be surpassed with if we do not start to help other people in a more systematic way. So this is because exists this law of interassistentiality. So when we understand that and put that in practice, not only in theory, but in a pragmatical way, and we saturate our intellect with these concepts, these contents of the laws of the evolution of consciousness, we have more chances to have consciousness expansion, as I said many times here. So just to finish my presentation, I think uh, in the same way that I said previously in the others laws, the laws of multidimensionality. So conscious projection, which is we could say the out of body experience, when successfully applied, when we have out of body experience with uh, lucidity, a lucid or conscious uh, out of body experience, reveals par excellence the existence of multidimensionality as a reality to which all consciousness are invariably subjected. So when we understand that we are a multidimensional consciousness, not only a physical or a brainy consciousness, a cerebral consciousness, I think there is a very good potential, a huge potential to have a consciousness expansion when we put that in practice. So every time you are thinking about multidimensionality, about how to implement interstitiality in your life, and you cannot dramatize your life. You have to reason here to come back to the intraphysical dimension, to evolve. You are subject to all these laws. When you understand that, not only in theory but in practice, you have much more chances to have a consciousness expansion. So, in conclusion, when we saturate those knowledges, as I was saying, both theoretically and in practice, and start to act from them, no longer in a rational way. So you are not thinking about these laws anymore. These laws are rooted in your consciousness. These laws, these principles, the knowledge, not only in a worldview, you do not only see the world from this standpoint, but you know these laws, you know these contents deeply in details, and you transcend this rational way to understand them. So when you transcend, you surpass this form of acting rationally towards these laws, you start to operate and to function in an automatic and intuitive way about these contents. So when it happens, we can experience more expansions of the consciousness, and at the limit, the cosmic consciousness. So this is my research, my actual research. I think this is what I wanted to present here. Fabiana, thank you again so much for the opportunity.
I would like to ask a question, Rodrigo. We can still debate one or two questions. First of all, it's a fantastic example of consciousness expansion. You just showed me, and I'm sure you showed also everybody. My question goes towards your practice. When you had this extra physical phenomena, this phenomena of expansion, no?
Yes.
Could you talk specifically about the day and from the pragmatical point of view, how
Yes.
you felt from perhaps beginning, middle, and end, giving an overview about the
Hmm.
phenomena, about your practice part?
Yes, yes, sure. Thank you. Yeah, I think this is a very good question because my experience tells a lot about what I showed here. Uh, and this is, I think, that the next step of my research is to show that the writing about these topics, these subjects, these contents that I said, writing about them is one of the greatest way to saturate your intellect. Because when you write, and not only write, but when you write and publish those ideas, you are defending those ideas before the public. Uh, you have a really good opportunity to saturate these contents and to live in a more intuitive way with these contents. So, what happened with me was exactly that, because when I had this experience of cosmic consciousness was back in 2013, 10 years ago, and it was on January, I think was 23rd January 2013, I think. And at that time, I was writing about, I don't know, I forgot how to say the encyclopedia of conscientiology,
The verbages?
the
An
verbatim, yes,
entry? Yeah,
the
the
entries,
entries
yes.
of the encyclopedia, right?
Yeah, one of the entries of the encyclopedia of the consciousness. And it was about the matter thoughtinic, parallel matter thoughtinic, something like this.
Okay.
Okay, so I was writing about this at that time, and I told myself that I could not write about this if I'm not practicing it. So I tried at every time of my day to practice what I was writing about. And I was trying in my entry to correlate, to do some correlations between the evolutionologist. I think it's like this, we are saying in
Mm-hmm.
English, evolutionologist
Yeah.
and parallel. I was trying to correlate the profile of the evolutionologist and parallel. and to try to explain parallel through this profile of the evolutionologist. So I I I told myself, I said to myself that I need to try to live these things that I'm writing here, these correlations between the evolutiologists in parallel. I need to try to live it. So I did it. I tried. I actually tried, and so I was studying in theory and also in practice. So that saturated that this is my hypothesis, because I think that saturated my intellect with these contents that I summarize in 4 points and 5 laws here, and that saturated my intellect, and I started to act from these contents and from the knowledge of these laws without thinking. I did not have to think about them to act from them. So
Okay.
I entered in a more intuitive way of functioning. So I think that led me to the cosmic consciousness. This is my hypothesis. So
Wow.
this is the background of
Yes.
the study.
Yeah, I think I had a pretty good idea. You were trying to connect with the essence of a very evolved, much more evolved consciousness
Yeah.
as the average of us, for example, no, the
Yes.
evolutionologist. And by trying that connection, you end up having this very expanded
Yeah.
phenomena,
and I
paraphenomena.
I think I published this experience in Conscientia Review. I think it was in 2019, 2018. Conscientia Review is one of our reviews in conscientiology,
Mhm.
and in that in that article, I present also the hypothesis that I was helped by a helper, an astrophysical helper, which was, in my opinion, an evolutionologist. This is my hypothesis also, because this kind of phenomena, we also say that usually or always, we cannot affirm for certain that always happens like this, but there is a strong probability or a great probability to have the presence of really evolved consciousness helping us to experience this kind of phenomenon.
That's great. Perhaps it might be interesting placing the link of the article at the end, Rodrigo. We can
Okay,
try to place the link on YouTube's channel, so once people are attending, even in the future, they can access. If
okay.
it's for free, I don't know if
Yeah,
people can
yes,
download that for free, but if it's possible, it might be a nice idea.
yeah, sure.
Okay. Anything else you think it's important to bring here, Rodrigo? People are saying that it is a very nice and important topic and profound topic, an excellent topic. I have it here from a few people. So
I
actually,
think,
congratulations for this
thank
challenge.
you. Yes. Yeah, no, I just would like to thank again the opportunity. I'm doing really all my efforts now are to uh, talk about more cosmic consciousness, because I think we do not talk enough about this kind of experience, and I think it's a very important experience in the evolution of the consciousness. So my main effort now is to talk the in many opportunities as I can about this matter. So I would like to thank you again, and if everybody could understand the essence of my presentation, I'm satisfied. So thank you again.
We would like, in the name of Isaac, we would like to thank you, and people can also let future questions here. And it was really a great experience to have you here, Rodrigo, with such a profound topic. I see you are expert in para-law, so it's totally related, no, with that. Thank you again. It was a pleasure to have you here, and I hope to see you soon back talking
Okay.
more about that. Okay?
Okay. Thank you.
Good. So thank you. Thank you, everybody, for being here with us. We see you soon. Bye-bye.